card reader makes card payments easy. No fixed contract, no monthly fees.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Then and Now program. I'm your host and presenter, Prince Emil Kroma, coming to you today, the 11th of September, 2019. And as usual, today's another special one. But let's warm up the floor.
Think stronger, all seen a cow price. I don't blame them, now we take them bright price. I do with the come, them be they act nice. Nowadays I say them they act wise. Some people them wanna let we think twice. So job now they have a woodlands go down. We the youth them I do the youth them stairs. Money not they set for virus. Now that we go call, now that we go to. Papa God come down and save us. Since we are born at the same struggle, every day and that's why the same hustle. Things gonna change at the same trouble. Big trouble in a small saloon. Big trouble in a small saloon. Big trouble in a small saloon.
Yeah, that's like you better we go make line of voice. Now team Tranga will make line for talk. How man go drink your water, slow water. Tell just to go back, go catch me your car. Under one pot, just spray one water. The man of offensive, quick the pool tanker. But this is business, when I not go blow, now feel say I'm not more cold breeze for the blow. Try with the same team, we want new party. Not your man, the way they take them on the use on the party. The country don't crack, make young man, these don't work, now they man, they talk and say, right. The man of a make moves, Paulo, one cha-cha. When I match is more done, I continue the crash. So I also find let's make a loss before that borrow from Libya to Italy. But come on, don't die.
Since we are born at the same struggle, every day and that's why the same hustle. Things gonna change at the same trouble. Big trouble in a small saloon. Big trouble in a small saloon. Big trouble in a small saloon. Things just a tea, the same make we be. When change to the past, we go right here. The way I turn, I go fire them. The way I turn, I go scatter them. The way I turn, I go fire them. The way I turn, I go scatter them. I say they change for we up. The way I change for we up.
You don't let the fear go all the way up. Gary set down a 5 block for cut. They are with the bag, gonna talk to an extra. But this is one sell, make it $3. The rest of the fuel price, we are making cuts on the gas here and let's make me crew go talk to her. Pull up. Who don't you talk to the bar? When I go tell the boss you want to talk to the bar. Don't go. Let's don't go. Fuel don't go. What I want to take power. And the bowl, take power, then begin bad.
Since we are born at the same struggle, every day that's why the same hustle. Things gonna change at the same trouble. Big trouble in a small saloon.
We don't tie with this.
Big trouble in a small saloon. Big trouble in a small saloon. Some people them wanna let we think twice. So if you job now they have a woolens go down. We the youth them idle, the youth them stairs. Money not they set for virus. Now that we go call, now that we go to. Papa God come down and save us. Since we are born at the same struggle, every day and that's why the same hustle. Things gonna change at the same trouble. Big trouble in a small saloon. Since we are born at the same struggle, every day and that's why the same hustle. Things gonna change at the same trouble. Big trouble in a small saloon. 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 Big trouble in a small saloon.
Cyrilian, what's up, man? Time for make a wake up and act right now. Know what I'm saying? Where the clips and come out and push button Empire Lay. But they don't know say that they're the biggest clips. What the young man in the thief? They don't know say that they're the biggest thief, man. They say for this and coming by there. Oh, that bad pass for this and go. Yeah, that one more time on the spray pan people. When I get small eyes for at least no usually for drink, alright? False life thing them.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another brilliant evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you may be. I bring greetings to you Speaking to you this evening, I'm Prince Emil Kroma. Yes, Mr. Mohamed Sisse, it's a topic worth debating, but the Sierra Leonean people have already made up their minds on where the issue is. And we will talk about it tonight. And if you want to partake, please don't hesitate to either call or send me an invite. We make a connection, and then the rest of us get to hear what you want to say. Today, the 11th of September, marks another year since the tragedy in the United States. So as we lost over 3,000 people and over 6,000 injured, we expect, to pay homage and respect to those people that lost their lives and those that are injured. In this respect, I'm asking wherever you are watching this program, can we just observe a 30 seconds of silence for those that lost their lives during the September 11 attack on the United States of America? Right. At least we've done our observation in respect to the dead and the wounded. And as a member of the community of nations, we also have to pay due respect. Today, ladies and gentlemen, is another critical one in the history of our country. And I'm happy that you've tuned in. And please, share this video. Don't be selfish. Let others be a part of this process. I'm asking you to please share the video. Also, the emoticons are there for a particular reason. Brother Benjamin, welcome to the program. Happy that you tune on. And Brother Bobby, welcome to the program as well. Please use the emoticons to express your feelings, regardless of what they are. That's how we learn what we are doing so that we don't make strategic blunders. Today, what we are about to discuss has been going on for a couple of days. I mean, the action happened a few days ago, and then the repercussion, obviously. For every action, there is a reaction. So we are going through the reactions now. The Anti-Corruption Commission, thank you very much. The Anti-Corruption Commission took an unprecedented action, which by many respects is known to be a shame and naming process, although the commissioner thinks otherwise, which we will go into in a minute. We know that the issue of corruption is rampant in the country. There is no ifs, no buts, and this has been going on for decades in that country. When the Sierra Leone People's Party came into governance, their mantra, a new direction, was geared towards turning things around. So where there were corrupt practices, allegedly, they will sort that out. And it seems like this is what they are trying to do. But in so doing, they are upsetting a lot of people. And it's not even about upsetting. It's about the rule of law. And this is where I believe that there are issues which many people in the country take offense to in the way these things are being carried out. Okay? And there are many conflicting issues surrounding this. But this is serious because there comes a time when we have to draw the line. Yes, the fight for corruption is getting very conflicted because people, I believe the entire country, except you're a corrupt person, but the entire country is trying to rein in corruption. And everybody is on that fight. And I repeat, the only people who will not be on board with the fight against corruption are those corrupt people themselves. So when people, take up issues, typical example on what was meted out to teachers, other people had a go at them by pointing fingers and accusing them of not wanting the fight against corruption to succeed. Now, I find that very, very disheartening. And not everybody is sincere because, like I've said previously and I say today, because of the polarization in our politics, we hardly find common ground. Those who are accused of thievery, you've got a set of people that support them because these set of people are their thieves. Those that accuse people wrongly of thievery, you've got a set of people that support them because they are their base. These are the people that they support. And somewhere in the middle, you cannot find a common ground. This is because of the polarization in our society, in our politics. Politics has become bitter that so many people are becoming, distracted. But the real issue that lies here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, that we want to talk about is the alleged shame and naming of teachers without due process. I am extremely happy, and I've said it, that history will be kind to the president. For once, he's done many things, in the good of the nation, but I'm talking about this particular one, and the reason why I'm saying this is because the president has been silent on many issues. There is a catalog of issues in which the president has been conspicuously silent. But on this one, and this has marveled a lot of people, why has the president spoken? The president has got a right to speak, but the fact of the matter that he's not spoken on many other issues, which were of some equal magnitude to this one, beggars the question, why now? But before we go into that, let's lay the premise, let's lay the case. The anti-corruption boss, a man that I admire, a young man, Mr. Francis Ben Kaifala, who is charged with the responsibility of arresting corruption, bringing corrupt officials to book, but by due process, should act within that remit. A few days ago, in his remit, he decided to punish some teachers who were found wanting, who were engaged in corrupt practices. The evidence, as we are told, is incontrovertible. It's as high as a pile. And I'm describing, of course, I'm paraphrasing what the ACC boss said. They've gathered so much evidence against these people. Physical, tangible evidence, circumstantial. Everything is available. So much so was the evidence that the ACC boss thought that, well, it's time to act. When he took action, this action did not go down well. So what these teachers are being accused of doing is helping people to pass exams. In other words, either taking the exams for students or providing answers long before the students will go into the exam halls to take these exams. And the evidence is so descriptive, and that's why I said incontrovertible, that it's so stark real that these people cannot be exonerated. But I'm not sure whether it is the duty of the ACC boss or the Constitution of the Republic, which says that these people have equally got human rights until, even when they are indicted, they still have their human rights, but it's a court of competent jurisdiction which has to convict or indict these people and not the ACC boss. But what is alleged to have happened in this case is the ACC boss, Mr. Francis Ben Kaifala, went out of his way to ensure that these people are named and shamed. But guess what? The ACC boss has denied that this has nothing to do with naming and shaming. The action taken by him, in which people find it so barbaric, so out of date, that unfortunately there's this nonsense now circulating that the administration was just playing a prank on the nation. That makes it even more absurd. So it would be best, if this is the case, Mr. Cabo, for them to just withdraw it, okay? Or probably it wouldn't be government officials that are saying this. Remember, social media is awash with rumors. Because if this is the case, and it cannot be an official line, but if this is the case, it's more damning. Because what really happened should not have happened in the first place. And people like us spoke against this act when it first was highlighted. And we are speaking against it now, and we feel vindicated that for once the President of the Republic, His Excellency Julius Maada Bio, has come out and condemned the action. He has condemned the action categorically, and in a statement, I'm quoting the president, that even before consulting with the ACC boss, he apologized on behalf of the ACC. The president found this action so nonsensical, so absurd, so archaic, that the president could not even consult Mr. Ben Kaifala, but to go straight away on national media and apologize on their behalf to the entire nation. And as usual, this should have been period. But in a nation that is conflicted and awash with political views and ideologies and polarization, you guess that this argument is going to go on, and I'll deal with this right now. Ladies and gentlemen, just barely before the president's apology, because we know this, some people went on to defend what Mr. Ben Kaifala did vehemently, unconditionally. They vouch that he was right to do what he did. I don't know by which means, they were saying that he was right, but people that you would normally hold in high esteem, although that is, beginning to reduce by the day, because they keep, or they are compromising their character, they are soiling their characters by going along with ideas that are questionable, and because of partisanship, they are refusing to question what is undeniably wrong. But we say we feel vindicated because the president has now apologized on behalf of the nation. And as the president, the know-it-all, the be-it-all, the most powerful on the land, has said that this was wrong. And like I'm saying, this should have spelled the end of it. But because some in social media are deciding to do what the Americans call double down on what I can't really figure it out. Okay? But this is it. When it comes, I hate to speak in derogatory terms about Black Africa, Sierra Leone for that matter, but generally Black Africa, Black people. But we know we normally punch below the belt. We know that our expectations, many a times, is low. We know that we set our objectives below the belt. So whenever we rise up above the belt, it's a surprise. It's a surprise to many of us. And this is the standards that we set ourselves, which makes us that I'm not speaking about individuals, honestly. I'm speaking about groups and groups and groups of people. And how do I justify this? There are many ways I can justify this, but one way that I can actually justify it now is the calling of groups of people or some personalities who are relevant that we should be recolonized. If only people understand, the recolonization process, then they will be ashamed of themselves. But because this is their mindset, this is their thinking process, that's why we are unable to make, a gradual process. That's why when we make a judgment about the nations where we come from, especially those of us that finds ourselves in the diaspora, our expectations of our people down there is always below the belt. We live within the means and the rules of law in the countries that we find ourselves. But when it comes to our countries, we are asking for extrajudicial process, which is inhumane, which is unlawful, and should not be the action of modern civilized nations. And this is shameful. And in this case that we are talking about tonight, this is what some people, unfortunately, have been calling for. Sierra Leone, if people have forgotten, is a nation of laws. The reason why the ACC in the first place was set up was to ensure that there is a lawful way in which things are carried out. In other words, when people break the rules around corruption, this is just one body around corruption, they should be reined in. There are parameters set, and the ACC boss knows what the parameters are, and he's been speaking about them. One of the things that the anti-corruption boss talked about, which is sort of technical, but he cannot get away with it because we're going to deal with it in a second. Because there are limitations, I repeat, because there are limitations to his mandate, to his remit. If we all can recall, a couple of weeks ago, the vice president, they instituted, Dr. Julde, they instituted some measure. And this measure that was introduced was a kind of strategy which is called an anti-corruption strategy. Okay? Whose primary responsibility, because this is the conflicting of issues here, in which a lot of us are getting carried away by. The primary responsibility of this anti-corruption body that was set up by the Vice President, Dr. Julde, its prime responsibility was preventing or taking preventative measures that will a bit differ from the existing structure or remit or responsibility of the ACC boss, as it were, before the institution of this new strategy by the Vice President, Dr. Julde. Now, in introducing that strategy, what it did call for was trying to adopt ways that are different from the previous, so that the actions that they take against corrupt officials will be, like I said, different from before. In other words, to reinforce the corruption mandate. So, one, they can bring in more people. Two, find ways around, because a lot of people have been getting away with the measures. Probably the punishment is not adequate enough. So this is what they were trying to institute. But in doing so, even though it talks about strategy, and ladies and gentlemen, strategy is no law. I heard the anti-corruption boss, a lawyer of many years of experience under his belt, who happens to now look like a conflicted individual. And I repeat, the ACC boss, effectively, from what transpired within the last 96 hours, is now a conflicted individual. And I don't say this lightly, ladies and gentlemen. I don't at all. Because he's a man that I've got huge respect for. But he is now a conflicted individual. Now, let me point to the evidence why I say so. Because, of course, there are many people who won't buy into this. I'm not asking you to buy into this without doing your objective analysis yourself. So I refer you to something of most recent, which are 2 interviews that the anti-corruption boss conducted himself. One was with 98.1, an interview that I found very, very interesting. And this is where I'm drawing my take from. The idea of me saying that the anti-corruption boss is now effectively a conflicted individual, a conflicted man. This is where I'm taking this from. An excellent interview was conducted on 98.1 with Khadija and the other lady. And in that interview, ladies and gentlemen, I'm asking you to go and listen to the interview and draw the conclusion yourself or selves. The anti-corruption boss, for goodness sake, made many statements that were kind of ambiguous, plenty of ambiguity in what he said. First of all, one of the things that he said I found, sort of kind of interesting, and I couldn't believe my ears, and I had to listen to it for the second time, is this. What everybody has come to know about this incident regarding the teachers is they were named and shamed. Okay? The anti-corruption boss disagrees. He said, no, these people were not named and shamed. So in other words, the process that these teachers were taken through was not naming and shaming. If this is not naming and shaming, then you have to ask yourself what it is. Or is the anti-corruption boss defining naming and shaming as if on a piece of paper, the names of those people would have been written, okay? And then they would have been sent all over the country, the different annals, social media annals and national television and the rest of it. Is this the definition of shaming by the anti-corruption boss? Is this what we are talking about? They have to set it clear. That's why I'm saying ambiguous. Because even by what transpired, it's more than naming and shaming. These people, their faces all over social media, national media, mainstream media, all over the world, with placards hanging over their necks, with handcuffs. People of a noble profession. accused of corruption, and rightfully so, but the process applied wrongly, as the the boss himself, Mr. Ben Kaifala, will admit. He's admitted it, so there's no argument about it, that the strategy was wrong. There was an idea or a concept that they tried to apply. And this is the other conflicting thing from the ACC boss. What they were trying to do was to introduce a strategy which I term a shock and awe strategy, okay? To shock the conscience of Sierra Leoneans, so much so that others who will have seen this action meted out to these teachers will think twice. I repeat, will think twice before ever attempting to indulge into corrupt practices. Now, this is where the commission again failed, or there's a negligence on the part or the duty of the ACC. First of all, the ACC boss said they were trying to test the tolerance level of the Sierra Leonean people. Really? Because if so, there are methodologies that will have been applied in the first place to limit the damage, if there were going to be, or that was going to give them clearance in the first place to effect what they've effected. Let me see who wants to come on. Seems like, okay, Yusuf, Abdullah. Yeah, I was meant to do this with a guest. So apparently, so we carry on.
Yo, bro, good day.
Okay, so interesting. Yeah, good evening. Yeah, how are you,
Good
sir?
evening, sir. How you do? How are you?
Yes, we are fine. And yourself?
Thank God. I do well. I'm happy.
Okay, brilliant, brother. Yeah, this is your first time,
Yeah.
I believe, and I'm happy that you're there. For the benefit of the audience, I guess you understand the subject matter. And will you introduce yourself and where you're calling from, please?
Well, like me, Yusuf Abdullah Mara, they call from Milano, Italy.
That's lovely. I think it's our first time having a caller from Italy. Anyway, brother, what do you have to say? Welcome to the program then and now. And please share a good word in Italy. What do you have to say?
Well, like, I just come across the program, like, just happens I don't see a lot of write-up in related to issue with the try for admonition. And I just try for go into the issue, then listing carefully for able understand what they try for treat on, then what I don't read from other people them as well. It will be possible for us to discuss much. You cannot to just understand your own view. I don't already see a write-up from other people them. So I just want to list your own view before they able to admonish anything in related to the issue.
Okay, thank you very much. One would have thought, that like they say you sort of aware, but it's not a problem since you're alive now. Let me just give you a quick rundown. Right. There's a commission in Sierra Leone called the ACC, which is the Anti-Corruption Commission, where in duty now for catch them people where they thief man and where they're accused of stealing and involved in corrupt acts. So the new man, Francis Ben Kaifala, who was named into the position by the president, His Excellency, retired Brigadier Julius Madapio, began high expectations and still maintain high expectations, I suppose, of the commissioner for doing work exactly as he's supposed to be. So this man only doing work, okay? But a few days ago, they get some teacher scandal in which teachers them, they find them, they involved in all kind of corrupt acts. They take money from school, picking them. They take money from them for go do WAEC exams, where then they provide the answer, pre-prepare the answer them for the picking them, where they downgrade the education problem in the country, and therefore they get consequence on with development, with human index, and the rest of it. So the ACC boss, Mr. Ben Kaifala, he be so shocked by what he see because he get evidence, he get serious evidence where they don't gather, where they catch the people, where they give the money, the paper evidence, the exam paper them, the answer them, and the confession from them people
Okay.
there. But waiting they happen now when you don't catch them, they decide for put a placard na the neck, put them per handcuff,
Okay.
and then put them at the streets of Freetown, parade them at the streets of Freetown. So most people find this action really, really barbaric and out of date, whilst others, as usual, say, well, it is right. But the argument here is, was it lawful? Because we want to talk on the legal basis whether it was lawful. Because even thief man, even a thief, has got his day in court.
Yeah.
And the president now, as we understand, don't apologize. And if the president don't apologize, that means the action was wrong. And even Mr. Ben Kaifala himself don't apologize in the sense that he admits the strategy being wrong. So technically, that's an apology. And this is where we are.
Okay. Well, like, thank you very much for...
Why your video look the fake too much? Can you study it, please?
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much for the whole explanation we don't give me. It just happens to, like,
yeah,
let me say, for an example, the anti-corruption just go apologize now because they don't already do what they want for put measures in place. The apology no need for grant to the people. They don't need for be interested to the apology, and even the president, because, like, for example, whatever we do for put brighter example in place, we get for what the repercussion. And then one day, let me say, now if people them way, they don't be, for an example, if we treat teachers them that way, now the young country, example, teacher where they teach school picking them, we treat them that way, definitely the law and the honesty way they try for prevail, it go so, but it go always sign a threat into any other institution so far. Because it might be say, other person the way it no go be guilty. It might be say other things go happen like this in any other side so far. In any other institution, even not to, let me say, the educational body, all right? Then go for take action while even that person is not guilty. So some of them things, you know, the way they happen, you know, they take action that particular way. Like them people there, them for don't they under a good monitoring until it takes some time. Even them found them guilty, but they don't go treat them so at this moment where the government they try for express in system to the people there. This now for just express the new way of governance in terms of reality. Then they show the reality to the people them, but not to say it go show you reality, not to show it go show good governance.
So you there against the fact that the teachers, you there against the fact that the teachers they parade them with a placard na the neck, with handcuff na the hand. You there against that, against teachers.
Yeah, against that totally. Whatever guilty it might be, okay. Whatever guilty it might be.
Yeah.
If you do for retire them, if you do for let them sack them out of the road, it's more important. Let them sack them from their job.
Okay.
Let them lose their job. If they lose their job value,
so make them sack them from
practices. All right. But you know, go take the law at hand for these people that abuse their own. You know that them people in for example, they go just left the country. Certain people, them, you know, certain disgrace and they bring to people them go left the country. And for lose somebody,
absolutely,
for just short and above, you know. Where after 2-3 years time, them people and they're more important back now the particular communities and where they come from.
So absolutely. Thank you for that contribution, my brother. Just because of time, I go really need for move on, but I really appreciate your first time contribution to the forum. I hope you go spread the word about then and now na Italy Day, and I really appreciate that you thank them for contributing.
And media advice, like now to do the media broadcasting mode. These are some of the things even in you know, when you do certain things they know they take legal let everybody know what you don't do. The discipline there is if they terminate them contract them from the teaching field, then no salary them they get. The way they don't terminate them contract them, they don't get salary again. So at the end of the day, That kind of people, they don't know how to deliver. Instead of bringing them to a capital city where everybody they focus on, they do that kind of thing. Then the international world, what to make the president apologize? You know, say he wrong to the international world. When the international world they look at some of those things, they don't say definitely human rights abuse they continue totally in other country. You don't see. Now the only apology
Absolutely,
they
my brother.
apologize. So now me contribute.
I think you make a very critical point towards the end there, and I want to say thank you very much. And please tune in again any other time. Yeah, thank you so much,
Right,
my brother.
Mr.
Yusuf, Italy, thank you so much. And the brother towards the end they make a real critical point, which is, remember, say we asked the question, who will make the premise? Why the president had an issue about ballot papers, polling station attack, violence left, right, and center. The president barely speaks. But on this particular one, the president, spoke and apologized. This is now a big issue. So we try for going to the mindset of the president and see why he apologized. And from the guest we just speak just now, you hear he say, because this guy human rights connotation in terms of teaching. Now, remember the teaching profession, and this is now one of the biggest mistakes. That's why we ask the question, a gigantic and catastrophic blunder. The bottom line here is, ladies and gentlemen, is the teaching na noble profession. Teachers are meant to be noble. That does not exempt the fact saying they not get corrupt one them among them like the ACC boss find. But in trying for prosecute them, it make this kind of catastrophic blunder for forget say now only a part and parcel of a teaching profession. So therefore, what will be the look at? Now the approach. Remember, we get videos on YouTube we talk about the way around corruption, how to fight corruption. And you don't say what we talk this. We are for fighting corruption, but corruption has to be fought with the necessary tools and means for make them effective. If you check my YouTube page, you will see a video there on corruption. Now, with this particular case, what we talk about, here it is. Yeah? The teachers come up from a noble profession. They belong to a union. A union. This is a national thing now we talk about. Not a one thief man, na corner, one government minister. We talk about national union of teachers. So when you prosecute one, you prosecute every one of them. Every one of them. Especially so outside of the law. So if you listen, the teachers union, they don't present a statement in which then they think about taking up a legal proceeding against the ACC or the ACC boss. And they are right. They are absolutely right. Because it's not because you are trying to effect the law that you yourself cannot compromise the law or found wanting. And if you are found wanting, action can be brought against you. You see the law complex and inflexible. Do you even know that the law itself can be wrong? Of course, now I make you can see people appeal until they reach to the highest court. Others are trying to come into the program. Let's get Kasada Kitchen. I always try to bring Kitchen. She's always unfortunate. Maybe today she might be fortunate. So while we're waiting for our next guest, I want
yes,
to how are you?
Fine, sir.
Good. It's good to have you on the program. I know you're famous.
Yes,
you're a famous face on social media. But for the benefit of those who don't know you, which I suppose are few, will you please introduce yourself and where you are calling from, please?
Well, my name is Daphne Maximilian Christiana Pratt, aka Kasada Kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, are you
I call from Seattle, Washington.
Seattle, Washington. Welcome to the program. You already know the subject matter. I just want to let you weigh in straight away. Let me hear your opinion, Sister Daphne.
You know, Mr. This just showing how some people power hungry. And when you power hungry, you they fail for fala posture.
Yep.
You know, it is such a, I dey feel for His Excellency the President.
Yep.
Because this show us that so many things that he is not aware of.
Yep.
And so many people are just taking the law into their own hands. For me, I look at it as if that was a sabotage.
Okay. Entitled to your view? Yeah.
For me, personally,
Yeah.
I look at it as if they're trying to sabotage the president. Because fail not to realize that the teachers' union in Sierra Leone is connected to the West Africa Teachers Union.
Absolutely. It's huge.
It's connected to the
huge.
Global Teachers Union.
That's correct. Good point.
You know, and fail not to realize teachers have been the underground heroes. We all can talk English today because of teachers.
Yep.
Kaifala can boast to be a minister of whosoever he is today because of teacher. Yep. Ask Kaifala how many times has he ever gone and give a gift to his teacher. But for him to disgrace a teacher the way he did is appalling. And it beats me to the core for me to see some of those who call educated fools supporting him. When those teachers are not being paid enough, those teachers, even in America here, we take things to school and teach you everything. They give you list.
Yep.
But those teachers try to instill knowledge into some of us. Look at the parliaments. Look at them when they speak English. Sometimes I prefer them to even talk Creole. Because, I mean, some of those teachers who taught them, I don't know where they are. But my brother, this is a pure sabotage.
Okay.
Kaifala should be fired.
Okay.
And number two,
the
Inspector General too should go.
Yeah.
For the police force to be around, I mean, who is in charge? Now the question is, who is in charge? Because it's an SAM, Kaifala can just handcuff people, put placard on them. Hey, by the way, if Kaifala wants to do that, I got something for Kaifala to do. Since we gave Fatima Bio integration cash, she has still not given us accounts. So we want Kaifala to ask Fatima Bio for the money that we gave her for inauguration. Fail not to realize now, I still have a video. She says she was the most trustworthy woman. But up till now, we've not seen nothing. No accounts. So when you want to start charity, start it at home. Then one day will cost me, I get perfume for you now. Now that spray and the spray perfume. Because when I cost it, and they feel fine, they went on a perfume and they spray. So I say, so I keep on costing so the perfume goes sweet. Thank you very much. That's my contribution. You want to ask me a question before I go?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'll get one or two questions for you. And thank you, by the way, because you make some very, very salient, your point. The point here is, which has not been taken note by many, is there is a union at the point I've been deep and where you call in. So for let you stress on them, which was very good. And you even expand on them that it is connected, with other African unions, like WAEC, for example.
Oh, yes.
So when you touch one, it's a union that you've touched. And this is the repercussion that we see. That's how very wrong it were. And you call for the resignation. You call for the resignation of the ACC boss. And you speak to another thing, which is people that you expect much of that claim to be, academics are supporting.
Honestly, my brother, I don't care how you take it. That was a sabotage. That means he's working against his boss. His boss does not even know what he's doing. That's a sabotage. Fatima Biobi swear, he say, let anybody will be bad for salon. Let God pull them at do. Sometimes I got to pull them at do so. Because some of the things that when people that they do, honestly, is not correct. When election come, you all opposition them, you harass opposition them, is not correct. And I know say most of the thing they are. This proof to we say His Excellency don't know what they go on.
Okay,
that is need for Sidom. If for Sidom, if we they fly.
Daphne. There is so much for you to say. I get you. It's pent up, so you have to let go. I get you. But just a quick one, you believe strongly that this was a sabotage. So apart from this one thing that happened, have you got any other issue that you will point to which will make your case stronger in terms of alleging that the ACC boss is now sabotaging?
No. I am not going to go on what other case I have or whatsoever thing I am thinking about. Now, we elected the president. The president appointed these people. And if these people are molesting our citizens,
Yeah.
I think it is the right of the president to use his discretion, because this is an embarrassment. Fail not to realize that 3 days ago we had an issue with the football team. Human rights violation. Then now we are having these issues. Come on now. I don't know, but I mean, I don't think the ACC boss has any right to go and parade citizen. When, I mean, that is jungle justice.
It is.
I mean, with all what's going on in the world, we're talking about South Africa, we're talking about Liberia, Sierra Leone. I mean, I don't know, but I think he has to go. The Inspector General too has to go. If he really means business, he really means, because I mean now it's telling us that he is not in charge. Because if he was in charge, anything of that sort he should have known. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm with the great Boskebe here. We are shipping today to Freetown, so Boskebe should be here.
Boskebe wants to say a word.
Yes, Boskebe, you're live internationally.
Hello?
No.
Hi, do sir.
Yeah, not too bad, Boskebe. I know we take you by surprise, but you are live. The whole world is watching you. We are talking about issues, and I sure say you do on your business, but you get anything for say? You want to greet the world? You want to tell them what you do? And probably advance your business.
That's wonderful. You guys are doing very well. You know, we hope and pray that everything seems fine and we want to go back home. Home is home. We never run away from home.
And we want peace.
Yeah. And we want peace.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Sister Daphne, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your contribution. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Yeah, that was the voice.
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
You're welcome, my sister. That was the voice of Sister Daphne Maximilian Pratt, commonly known as Casada Kitchen. Okay. Let me bring Brother Kaibanja. Yes. Let me see whether I can bring Brother Kaibanja. Whilst we're waiting for Brother Kaibanja, let me say this, and this is a quote from the former Prussian. He who defends everything defends nothing. Brother Benji, you will have to turn down your equipment or gadgets to 0. Other than that, it will interfere with the communication time.
What do I do?
Turn your gadget down to 0, your volume. Okay?
I've done it. I've done that.
Okay, maybe there are other interfering items, yeah? Look for your earpiece. I'm sure you got an earpiece. Have you?
Yes. Yes. I do.
Yeah, try the earpiece, please. Yeah, connect your earpiece and let's have a conversation. Okay, maybe there are other interfering items, yeah? Look for your earpiece. I'm sure you got an earpiece. Have you?
Yes. Yes. I do.
Yeah, try the earpiece, please. Yeah, connect your earpiece and let's have a conversation. Okay, Brother Benji. There's a delay in the loop. So what I want you to do, I want you to come out and then send me a request again, please, because this is very serious and we really need your contribution to this. So come out and send me an invite again. But there's a problem with the audio. Okay, that was a brother trying to make a contribution there. And let's bring, there are so many people who want to talk tonight, which is good. Let's bring Brother Kalawa in. Brother Kalawa. Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yeah, and welcome to the program, sir. Your name again and where you're calling from, please, for the benefit of those that are here for the first time.
Again, my name is Musa Kalawa. I'm calling right directly from the City of Angel, Los Angeles, California.
Wow, welcome, sir. Welcome to the program. Already, I'm sure you've been watching the program and you've seen the topic and you know what we are talking about. So I'm sure you've got an opinion, a question, a statement. The floor is all yours, sir.
Well, yes. What I saw from videos and pictures from social media with teachers being paraded with placards and handcuffs and being paraded in a public square. I have never known that place to be a public square until that day. It was very, very heart-rending. Yes, I know the teachers committed a crime to manipulate innocent students or to disenfranchise students who are less opportune to have given the 1 million, whatever amount those students have paid, and those few that were taken into a separate room. They gave them that upper hand, the privilege, while the majority didn't have it. I know it was not right. But can you quantify the crime being committed with those teachers? Can you quantify to the crime, to the punishment being meted to those teachers? Public humiliation? Can you quantify it? Was it warranted? Is it measurable?
You sound like it sounds like rhetorical. Yeah. So I think I get you. But saying that, because there's an admittance on your part already that indeed the teachers were guilty, even though they had not been tried. So I don't know how you arrived at that, because the duty of the ACC is to look for materials, that will, find these people, like whether they are guilty or not. They don't make that pronouncement. They then forward this to the court. It's the jurisdiction of the courts to prosecute, or indict these people.
Let me elaborate a little bit further, because I hear an inter-exchange between the Ben Kaifala himself with one, I think 98.1. He was there explaining, trying to justify his actions, why such punishments were given to those teachers. And at the same time, he was never apologetic. And for his boss to be so outraged and say, I don't even want to talk to the ACC boss yet, but on their behalf, I'm going to apologize. What they have done to these people was not the right thing. I'm going to apologize on their behalf before I even heard from the ACC. And then you heard your boss say that. Wouldn't that have sent a chilling effect in your mind to say, my boss realized that we made a mistake? If I'm going down to this radio station to justify my actions, wasn't it necessary to go in line with what my boss has already apologized for?
Brother Kalawa, just let me just interject briefly in just what you said. So let's look at the timeline. Who spoke first? Did
the president spoke?
The president spoke before the man, the ACC
the radio
boss
interview,
went to
before the radio interview. Before the radio interview, president spoke, and then followed maybe like a day after, or maybe a few hours later, he went to the radio for an interview. So to me, I can not differ from the fact that what this previous speaker just said, that it was an undermine. They undermined the legitimacy of the BU government. These are his boys, but everybody wants to be the superhero.
Let me play the devil's advocate here for a second or a minute, if you will, please. Okay. Now, you saying that it was a day after the president had spoken and apologized on behalf of the ACC, and then a day or so after.
I said it could be a day, but there were a few hours or a day apart. It could be a day or a few hours apart.
It's important that we have to be specific or near specific, because if we are saying hours, then we have one minute, please. If we are saying hours, okay, then we have to give the ACC boss the benefit of the doubt that there is a possibility that he could not have heard this boss. Because remember, the boss made this clear. He made it clear in his apology that even before speaking to the ACC boss, he's apologizing. So there is a possibility. We have to leave that line open before we lay the accusation straight on the feet of the ACC boss, that potentially he did not hear the president spoke. Okay, but this is what I want to say. So even though Mr. Kalawa, he did not, I'm talking about the ACC boss, he did not outrightly use the words, I apologize on behalf, or I apologize. You could hear the contrivance in his voice when he spoke, both with Umaru and 98.1. So even though he did not say the words apologize, or I apologize, he did say that he got it wrong, which tacitly is inferring or insinuating that I'm sorry. Would you agree with that, sir?
Well, he was not emphatic in his statement that we got it wrong. He said maybe. When you say maybe, you create the possibility of it being right or wrong. And it is factual. In the court of law, you have to be proven innocent or you have to be proven guilty before punishment can be levied on you. You do not go and play maybe or maybe not, because there is no turning back.
I absolutely agree with you, and we've had this discussion before, I guess, me and you, in which the innocent, here before guilty, is what the law states, by the way. So the reverse is a no, and this is my bone of contention that I've been trying to preach. Long before this program today, I've been on social media condemning roundly the action taken by the teachers, by the ACC boss against the teachers. So barbaric was this, so archaic, so ancient was this, that the president, could not withstand it, but had to speak publicly and apologize. Now, Mr. Kalawa, before I let you go, I listened to two of the interviews by the ACC boss. One of them, and I've got issues with those, with the two interviews. When he went to 98.1, what we are talking about now, and I agree with you, the way you characterize his interview with the girls, it was completely different when he spoke to Umaru. With Umaru, he showed some humility. At 98.1, he tried to portray a strong man, sort of persona. So you need to go and listen to that interview where he showed some humility and made several acceptances in front of Umaru. In other words, again, it was an apology on his part. There are two sides to these interviews that he held. I will ask you to go and listen to Umaru's interview, and I keep wondering, why did he show humility when he was being interviewed by Umaru, and with 98.1, he was playing the tough man's role?
All right, that's a great question. Let me just, that's a good question you asked me. And my own response here is this. As a government official, when you made a mistake to the public, if a president can come out on your behalf and apologize, I think that should have tore down his rhetoric against those teachers. His defensive mode, it shall have wind down. All he could have said, we made a mistake. We made a mistake. We should have listened to the courts. Let them make a decision or pronouncement. Based on their pronouncement, we can go ahead and institute punishment. But he was so defensive. In fact, to me, he was arrogant. He was arrogant, defending himself. He was not defending his office anymore. It's about his own personal character. And you are the ACC boss. You stand there. We put credence on you, credibility. And so should it be. So should it be. You should always go with that. I don't want to dig deeper into it. He's a young gentleman. He's learning. He's learning. Yep. So I think let him apologize, and we give him an opportunity to do right what is wrong.
I want you to watch the media in the next few days. I have no doubt that he is going to apologize. He's definitely going to apologize. But long before that apology that all of us are waiting for explicitly, I just want to make it clear. That's why I say you should go back and watch the interview with Umaru Fofana. With Umaru Fofana, he admitted that the action was wrong. He actually said that these people should have been taken to court. That's an admittance of guilt, isn't it?
Wasn't them in front of the law courts building? Where were they coming from?
Well,
Were
I
they
agree
trying to
with
go
you.
into court before being humiliated?
Mr. Kalawa. Yeah, Mr. Kalawa. This is the irony of it all. In front of the law court, and the law is blind. These people were paraded, and the legal status, the human rights abused in front of the law sanctuary. You can't have it worse than that, can you?
Yeah, before I go, I just want to make this pronouncement. They have done the teachers wrong. The teachers are the fabric of our society. If I'm here today and talking to you in English, I did not just get my primary education in America. It started in Sierra Leone. I continue on in the United States to go to higher climax in education. So therefore, no matter how we look at those people, we should always have that thoughts and that apathy in our mind for them to show that we appreciate them. After our parents, the next people in child bringing is the teacher.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kalawa.
That's all I have to say. They should be compensated. They get small money, and they should be compensated. Okay.
Thank you very much for that contribution, and we really appreciate it. Please share this in the wider Los Angeles City of Angels community and the wider United States. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
That was the voice of one of our contributors, Mr. Musa Kalawa, all the way from LA. And I just want to welcome a fellow Sister Khadija Tijan Nabe. Welcome to the program, sister. Thanks for tuning in. Before I bring in my next guest, I just want to develop a little bit because time is fast approaching. I want to do this in an hour and 30 minutes. So, what Mr. Ben Kaifala was saying, and I was saying this before the guest started tuning in, I find Mr. Ben Kaifala to be conflicting. You see, when people are coming out and saying, accusing him of sabotaging the government and President Bio, I mean, it's hard to swallow, but you have to consider that line. Because effectively, like I said from the beginning of this program, the ACC boss is now effectively a conflicted man. Conflicted in the sense, if you listen to the two interviews, you will see it there for yourself. So it's not me saying this, it's what is said in the eyes of the public. Okay? Mr. Kaifala went on to say that the reason why they adopted this strategy, in fact, they were encouraged to do so by the international community. He said that these things happen all over the world every day. But there are different nations. And then he went on to say, but of course, we can't bring the Saudi Arabian sort of pattern here where we'll be hacking people's head off. So you don't, dwell into unconventional means. But at some point, it's like he was endorsing the use of unconventional means. And in his own words, a sort of innovative strategy to capture the minds of the population. This is effectively the ACC boss saying that the strategy that they were adopting was to capture the imagination of the nation, or shock and awe, if you will like. Yes, Mr. ACC boss, you succeeded in one thing. Yes, the shock and awe. But it is negative, for you. Because the outcry is unbearable, so much so that the president had to come out and apologize on your behalf. This is a failed strategy, Mr. ACC boss. And you have to come out and say the words, I apologize. If your boss, the president, could come out unreservedly before speaking to you and say, this is wrong and I apologize, I see no reason why you shouldn't. So we know that you made a tacit acceptance of wrongdoing. But when Khadija asked you whether there were any regrets, your answer was an emphatic no. I thought there would have been some regrets. If the strategy was wrong, there would have been some regrets because the way it was designed and the way you went about it, it backfired. It backfired on you big time. It should not have been this way. Let's see whether we can bring somebody in before we make some more. Mr. Spain, I will come to you shortly. Let me bring this brother. See what goes on. Okay? So I was saying, he who defends everything defends nothing. And this is from a Prussian governor or the king of Prussia. That's many, many years ago. I want to welcome another guest. All right, welcome to the program. If you will just say your name and where you're calling from, please.
Mr. Johnson, I call from England.
Okay, welcome, Mr. Johnson, to the program. For the benefit of many foreign friends that are watching the program tonight and will watch it later, if we can flow in between Creole and English, I would really appreciate that, please.
Of course, I will. Okay, I'll talk like
Thank
Creole.
you very much, Mr. Johnson, and welcome to the program once more. You already know the topic, the subject matter. You already know what we talk about, and we just want you waiting now your view.
Yes, I don't listen for the past days. I listen this talk, the tussle up and down. But to be honest, between me and you, Salon world the world no Salon. Don't talk about our country in Africa. Because difference not great, but Salon world the world know what in teacher and they get, what teacher and they get. World know because me own teacher will teach me. Look what I made them sit on the lecture today. Last year I go to nice up and body in day. Still. The teacher will teach me, will learn me, will make a selective, I pass class 7. I go visit her, nice up and body day. Even that, even in mattress, that grass mattress I get up to now. But it's still a teacher. Still a good teacher. I not even know for absent or late.
Yep.
So that the kind of people them where if the all corruption money say do enough right for the olam. Honestly, you feel say reason there for me to do corrupt, let them corrupt. You must not correct for it. I'm not saying for corrupt too, but you will not say small reason there. Then somebody for letting get a kind of punishment there would they receive so, then they are disagree. Yes, some people did elect today. Now FBC, you decide how they keep coming with them for 30 minutes. Straight away, you don't know, say this not deserve for the FBC. Trust me. So the corruption, they unbug the education level, which is true. If the corruption, anti-corruption step in there, that's fine. For try to stop that, because some lecturers they back abuse them picking them. You want to get a good score, either money or the beef. Then they all know nothing for shame or talker.
Yeah.
So then they for try for looking into that, the anti-corruption for try for looking into even the government for support back, not anti-corruption no more. For try for stop anything in there. Because
the government don't try, Brother Johnson. The government don't try and dip and try. Remember one thing as well, that the government is cash strapped at the moment. But I think that was the cause of last year or the beginning of this year.
I'm not saying financially. I'm just saying like put mechanism in place. Like for no, I mean if you know say this lecturer, they do the entire so, and which is bad because me people know sit on now all net the study. Don't know that became the club all net because of him beef for money. Then they go through. Then you begin to go in the pack a reference on because if child because him proud say you know they give lecturer money or you know they give him beef. He will get reference for that. That happen. So like
well, it all boils down, Brother Johnson. It all boils down.
No, let people know the rights.
It all boils down to money, isn't it?
Yeah, what I'm trying to say is let the picking the people land the picking for know the right. Say, no suppose I give this man me beef or I get money. If I study hard, I work hard. If it fail me, if I do no right, salary no right. If I do say that they abuse salary, if I do say to go talk.
I think you make a brilliant point before I lose that thought process there, because nobody not talk about this and you talk about this, and the reason why that is important back now he make the action where Ben Kaifala take wrong. Because other discipline and the way it need for institute, way for don't avoid the kind of action.
I'm coming. That's why I just try for correct to say the government get power. The government get the right back, not to financially, but just say the people them.
I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying
the right. I'm not saying not to all the lecturers in the Duam. I'm not saying all the lecturers them all. Not to all the Duam. Some teachers and back some, police back some. Everywhere. Nobody not perfect every side, we can understand. The hardship, the poverty, not to SLPP start not to SLPP make hardship in a Salon or Africa self, if you don't do from the morning. So what I ever say is now, the ACC boss, what they do is really wrong. Really, really wrong. That image there, not get for loss. So that image there, not get for loss. So if why there is salon history right now worldwide, then they will come up. You know that?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What they
That's
talk
not
about
going
human rights right
anywhere.
now?
It's on the history book forever and ever.
What they talk
Amen.
about human rights right now? If they compare salon in other countries, then I should say for now, then they come up first.
Yeah, but listen to the contradiction. Now this have been tried for highlight as well. But of course, you don't make the point in which you say the ACC boss is wrong, and many people agree with you. The vast majority of people agree with you. But the ACC boss saying a strategy now even the try. It go on for say the same international community where you talk about human rights. It's saying that they draw this principle from because they say the need for do something innovative and innovative in their own sense now and do so. For hang placard
No,
na teacher
that's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. The international body no go ever tell you say for violate any kind of strategy you want to try. You have to know better. That kind of position they will also you have to know that. You have to know that. You must know say you don't violate this person right. What you, as far as me concerned, you know say then a paper and pen then they work with. When they say you not get proof for show things they wouldn't see and you not get evidence whatsoever, and say it's not corruption, they hand it to police they gonna court. They hand for commodity safe. As soon as they send it to court, to police and court, they hand for commodity, not to them for punishment. I don't think so. I don't think so that's right either.
No, not right at all. We don't look up the rules.
I don't agree with you that side who say you say apologize. He didn't apologize. But I disagree with that. Apology. Showing sign of remorse is not apology. If I show sign of remorse, that's not an apology. The big one, the daddy of the
what would be an apology for you?
Apologize, what I mean of apologize.
What would be an apology for you?
The number one gentleman in the country, if he apologize, wouldn't have me, one of apologize, wouldn't have Mr. Kaifala one of apologize. If the number one gentleman in the country apologize, because I think for me, at the first and this way something to go on at that country today, where I go stand up and say yes, I give thumbs up to Mother Bio for the first time. I really appreciate that what you do. That apology they alone. It make let's say
quick question for you, just because of time. I get one or two questions for you on the issue of apology. Or what would be an apology for you? Because like you say, you don't agree with me on the side where I say it sounds like Francis Ben Kaifala show some remorse where he talked to Umaru in particular. I don't know whether you don't listen to that conversation there between he and Umaru. And if you don't listen to her, I would advise that you listen to him. And not say the words exactly like I apologize, but all what he say in context is an apology. He realized the strategy wrong, okay? So I advise that you listen to him. But in any case, waiting will be an apology for you. The president don't apologize. If the president of the nation apologize, like you rightfully say, and he say in behalf of the ACC, probably the ACC boss, apology, they come very soon. But the president, like you said, the number one man, don't apologize already in their behalf.
I believe say that question is very simple for answer. If I tell you say, Mr. Prince, what I do is wrong, and I say, well, I'm sorry. that different. That's not apology. Apology, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. I'm sorry.
Okay.
And that kind of position itself. For me, for resign self.
Okay, Mr. Johnson, that's your opinion and very strongly said. And of course, sometimes sorry is the hardest word.
Now mistake where it don't stain the anti-corruption, not stain that.
Okay,
if you don't, you want to stain.
Thank you very much for that. I mean, your point is well taken. And I was saying sometimes, sorry is the hardest word for people to say. But I have no doubt that the word where you want to hear exactly from the ACC boss him out, I'm sure say that is coming soon. That I am pretty sure about. On that note, Mr. Johnson, thank you so much. Okay, that was a young man, Brother Johnson, out there making a powerful contribution to the program. Brother Benji, I'm going to talk to Mr. Spain shortly. Let me hear Mr. Spain in view. Mr. Spain is always a measured voice in that kind of issue there, so I will bring him on. Okay, and after that, Brother Benji, definitely you have to contribute. Okay, no answer from Brother Spain. Try him one more time. Nothing. And let me try Brother Kaibanja. Yes, so we've heard all of what people are saying internationally on the issues concerning the action, the anti-corruption boss, Mr. Francis Ben Kaifala. So once again, we've got another guest, and for the benefit of the listening public globally, Mr. Kaibanja, will you please introduce yourself and where you're calling from, please, sir?
Okay, my name is Benjamin Kaibanja. I am a hardliner SAPP supporter, and I'm a human rights activist and a political activist.
Okay. Ben, your volume now, you gadget where you use, will you take it up, please? Turn it up because you're low. Turn it up. No, the position where you've been there first is okay. Adjust the top, but your volume, you need to turn your volume up.
I don't turn it up. You hear me now?
Yeah, this is okay. This is better. So, Mr. Kaibanja, welcome to the program, sir. And already you've introduced yourself as a hardliner SLPP. So people have an idea of what they're going to hear, and you've made a couple of contributions already, in the chat room. You know the subject matter, and you know this is what is trending. What have you got to say, sir?
First of all, I want to state one thing clear. You previous in the lady, you panelists, you use a word like say educated fool. Me, I kind of debate anywhere. I not to call people the name because I believe in my ideas and I can stand up and debate any side. Anywhere where we're on the platform, let us respect each other. We can disagree without we not call names. But me always refer to people the way they not believe in ideas, then they call names. So me, I not to call anybody in there. But I make two things clear. Mr. Ben Kaifala is a fine gentleman, and the difference between he and President Bio, at the end of the day, in 2023, he was sick office, he need you vote. Mr. Kaifala in office will hold, in order the sick vote. He only do one thing, for execute in law to the best of integrity and ability. And most people, they confuse one thing, in boss or in boss. Ben Kaifala is an independent office where the answerable to President Bio or control what he for do. President Bio don't know his strategy. President Bio don't know what to do. Now, an independent body. Parliament, where Parliament confirm and they not say for work for President Bio, they work for Sierra Leone. In order to work for President Bio. President Bio not ever they know in day-to-day activities. That's the one. Two, people they misunderstand and say if okay, I'm gonna court. No, the mandate of it adjudicate case without not even going to court. These people don't know the fact that, and then they miscopper. It's a croma when an escrow wife. They don't find her guilty of money and they can go court. They settle up. That's the so going to court. So and even an escrow brother, they don't pay 800 odisem. They're not going to court. Now Ben Kaifala adjudicate them because the authority will get the alarm for adjudicate cases there. Me, I got another post when they call him Sagegba. Sagegba every month they pay almost a million, $2 million loans for the next 1 year when Ben Kaifala solely adjudicate. So in mandate force name people they for know before they mix up and say why not be tell them go court. Most people the way they arrest in court. As long as
Mr. Kaibanja, for the benefit of the record, I'm just going to interject quickly before you continue flowing. I wonder whether you are aware that Mr. Ben Kaifala himself, and I'm quoting him, that he's already said, I should have taken these people to court, i.e. the teachers. Are you aware, sir? Sorry, Benji. Oh yeah. I mean, Benji. Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for the compliment and the kind sentiment. It is true, But I will refer you, sir, here to Umaru, in the interview with Ian Umaru. Now, the ACC boss make that admittance day. So it is on the record. Fire away, please. Okay, I think the audio line between me and Mr. Kaibanja is difficult. Benji, you know the Yagini, eh? Do you? Hello? We've lost Benji again. Okay. Benji, if you hear me, because you're frozen, okay, I think you're back. Benji, you line really, really bad, because this is quite critical what we are discussing, but your line bad. You keep the freeze in and out, and you address not coherent at all. It's breaking in and out. So I don't know whether you're able to log off again and come out and come in again, because people and they complain now no sound and you're freezing. I don't know why. Maybe you say you did the reception poor. Maybe you need for change position as well.
I will do that.
Send me an invite again. Let's see. Pasheki, you want to come on? Pasheki, you asked to come on. You need to send me an invite, and I will send you. Let me see whether I can get Mr. Spain. He's always a level-headed man on these issues. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Welcome to the program, Mr. Spain. Always good to see you. For the benefit of those who have never heard of you, seen you, will you introduce yourself and where you're calling from, please, sir?
Good evening, listeners. Good evening, members of Dana Now. Mina Victor Spain, Mina strong supporter and member of Dana Now. Mina Mawid on the follow Dana Now since the beginning. Today, I decide for weigh in into the recent saga Freetown, where concerning the education and malpractices we happen between teachers and students over the waske with them they take, and we lead with ACC boss Mr. Kaifala for take an unprecedented action. For try for send a clear message, say whatever the case may be, corruption we get for Freetown. However, before I kick in, I've been just highlight two things them we I want to talk about. First, I go talk briefly about Ben Kaifala. Secondly, I go talk about teacher salary. Thirdly, I go talk about the state of our education. And number four, I go talk about the 100% failure what we see now with educational system recently. So
okay, if we can keep up brief. If we can keep them brief, that would be good.
Yeah, I will make them extremely brief. First, let me talk about Ben Kaifala. Ben Kaifala na a rare breed, na a gem na the society of Salon. Last time that way day. In success na this few term where he come, we don't ever see him. Now man will get absolute respect for whatever he may have done. But for this particular action, he made a mistake, a call of judgment. But then what? We for kill him, we go murder him. He's a human being. That don't show say in a real human being. A reliable for make mistake. We don't ask him 100 times, 99 times, we don't produce. He produce very cogent, good results for we. If President Bio go clap today in flagship program, thanks to Ben Kaifala. Now, he don't make the SLPP government proud because it deliver. Now, one pan the people under that Salon day, when they work for the government today, we don't deliver so far. Name me one minister we don't deliver equal to Ben Kaifala. Mr. Moderator,
I'm sure the question is just. I thought it was rhetorical.
Yeah. You will name me one minister. We don't perform equal to Ben Kaifala.
I don't know Ben Kaifala, not a minister. Neither I believe he's not a government.
I just draw parallels. For sure, say this guy, he don't in short term when we appoint him. where the salon people and look say, now in the fitted man. I think say in years that the best decision the one the way we salon people and don't do. Because that appointment say, even though it was questionable. Now don't get me right, the appointment was very questionable. People then cried out, but the guy has been excellent so far. It don't make one poor judgment. But what me believe say, we know salon people them. We know the state of our education. We know the struggle. We for able move on and not demonize this guy. Because that go only demotivate them for work for we. Okay, let's move to that. Let's talk about the teachers and salary. Over the years, we teach them, we don't let them down. This, come by political party. All political party guilty. We teach them down woefully. Today, then in parliament, and because of them very teacher, we don't let them. We they pay them minimum wage. How do we expect these teachers to live? Then they resort into all kind of bad practices. Them. A teacher profession is the most noble profession on earth. A teacher and a person with moral values. Now people are with ethics. But waiting the apple in a salon, we teacher then cannot stand up and say they get moral values. This to go down to generations. Example, now the 100% failure, what we see. Where President Bio can say, no, I go change the system. In 1 year, he exposed we educational system. Now this change, then teacher with a heart to head far, with the cry say yes, then catch them by malpractices. Then we for sack we commissioner, he do wrong. The president don't apologize. Though we serve the way to say, Ben go recognize say he make a mistake and put we teachers them, they pay them poor. But then the question is, so many people can get bad salary in a Freetown. But then for go around the thief, because what's in and do so, now stealing from the poor people. They take money from them and show them exam, they show them answers. This now we lawyers them for the future. Now we teachers them for the future. Now we leaders them of the future.
Mr. Spain, I know you get a couple of issues there where you want to develop, but there are 4 critical issues that you say you want to address. And I think this is the second one you did. But I want to ask 1 or 2 questions before you continue with this and move on to the third one. Which is, for example, you don't want people to demonize the ACC boss, even though we are agreeing that he's made a catastrophic blunder. And there's a general agreement out there that anybody indulging in criminal practices, corrupt practices, the law should take its course. And if we are admitting that Mr. Kaifala, he made an error, why shouldn't he be called out for it? Why shouldn't he? Secondly, do you think, because I heard you say, like the teachers almost deserve what they got because they are not supposed to be corrupt, which we agree with, but is the punishment proportional to the crime? Is that the way they should have treated the teachers?
No, well, actually, I am not going to sit here and say the punishment method to the teachers was proportionate. No, I would be wrong to say that. But all over the world, teachers are not well paid. UK, for example, we all know that. But this is a profession you go into.
Are you going to compare? Vic? Are you sorry, sir? Are you going to compare the two? You look at that vast ocean of difference. That teachers are not well paid.
For our standard of living, for our standard of living, teachers all over the world are not well paid, even in UK, except private teachers. But teachers that does public schools are not well paid. Because I'm talking about the standard of living in UK. Teachers, we tell you we are not well paid. But
so let's go back to the standard. Let me take on you that a bit, because it seems like technically, whilst you are condemning, at the same time you're trying to make a subtle case on the bottom, as to what potentially would justify the action of a man clearly that you admire. And let me let you know as well that I do admire him. Okay, I do follow him. I do follow him a lot. But you're talking about the standard of living. So in UK, supposedly the standard of living is high, And when you look at the
Very
salary,
high.
it's no, but it is within the means as compared to where we are talking about Sierra Leone, where it is not within the means. So this is a huge difference. Teachers do make a lot of money in England. The reason why they complain is like cost of living and etc., inflation and the rest of it. But they do live, within the means. They make a lot of money. And a lot of people are going into that profession. But England, whatever the case, they're still moaning. But how can you compare with the other side? How much do teachers make? Let's go down to the figures. Let's do the maths, Victor, quickly. How much do you know how much teachers make in Sierra Leone?
Teachers in Sierra Leone would be just above the minimum wage, I guess. A primary school teacher could be
just above the minimum wage, which is 500,000.
Yeah.
So
let's say a teacher might be in a 1 million plus, a 1 million, something like that.
I doubt the 1 million plus, but let's even say 1 million plus. Okay. Then the US dollar or the rates. I don't want to go into economics tonight. Let me just give you the chance to flow away with what you're saying. So go ahead, please.
Yeah. So okay, let's talk now. Number 3, let's briefly touch on the state of our education. The state of our education is in mess. I believe every Sierra Leonean will agree with me. Time and time again, the last beauty pageant we will see basic questions where they ask, begin them, we don't graduate. They cannot answer basic questions. Then they end up for talk Creole, the one they talk so. We education system be not rotting to a core. It be not rotting to a core. So it need drastic measures for change. I know they say Ben
that does not
Kaifala,
involve
right?
hanging placards from teachers. That does not involve hanging placards.
That was extreme. That was extreme.
And handcuffing teachers in front of law courts.
But sir, okay, let me answer that question. These teachers, if they were found guilty, will go to prison anyway. They will go to prison.
Yes, Mr. Spain.
Yes. If they are found guilty, they will go to prison.
And that's what the law calls.
I want people to know say this now treasonable offense. I mean, a prison. Now the prison time to wait for the teacher. You know,
no, that is not treasonable. That is not treasonable in any shape, sense, or form, sir. No, it's not. But I do agree with you that if they were found guilty, they will go to prison. But the opposite is the case here. They were never found guilty by a competent jurisdiction. I mean, the court of law. It should have been a judge, that would have indicted them, convicted them. But in this case, no, it was a strategy. The ACC boss has admitted that it was a strategy, and the strategy blundered. It backfired big time on him.
That's true, sir. So having said that, we've seen recent exam we get 100% failure. How many people come down and say we need a change? People and grumble. Why Sierra Leone seem for the okay with things we really bad, things we get to do with the future?
I don't think so again, Mr. Spain. Mr. Spain, that would be a miscalculation of the feeling of the general population, both within and without, inside and outside of Sierra Leone. Which country or people will not want a sound education, for their kids? Which country will not want to live morally, or within their means, sir?
I think our country, Sierra Leone, is an example of that country, sir. Should I tell you why? Just recently,
go ahead.
We saw students in our street protesting because they wanted to spy, and we see people saying yes. Was it because
the protest? Was it because they wanted to spy, Mr. Victor? Is that why they were protesting?
There should be.
You froze. Let me ask this question again, Mr. Victor. Mr. Victor Spain, I'm going to ask you this question again. You are very salient. You are very salient. No, sir. Let me ask the question. Let me ask the question again, because this is difficult to accept. I'm not talking about people casting aspersion, CSA, they say. We are talking about tangible evidence here,
Yeah.
okay? Because you are on record, and I would hate for you to be on the wrong side of history.
Yeah.
Are you telling me, by your calculation, what you saw evidentially, that students actually went to protest, and this is the caption of their protest, because they wanted to spy? Is that what you're saying,
No.
sir?
No. Well, of course, no sane person.
I know I
Dr.
can't
Lam,
allow you to be
you
on
know
that
the
kind of
reason.
record. That's why I went over it again.
The
Yeah.
question is, sorry, audience. Oh my God.
That's all right. There's no way I'm going to allow this to happen to you, Victor, on record. No way.
No sane person will come out and say, "I beg teacher, I dey strike because you not allow me for spy." But now that lead to the action we then come, we then do. Then stop them for spy, so then cause trouble and police waiting. So what's in the strike for? Now because they not allow them for spy. So let me go straight forward. Yes, then the strike say they not allow them for spy, and we get sane people in a salon where they support that can. I don't want to use the word idiotic because it's not social media, not public platform, but people in there were saying women they support that. Say now speaking the why we not the beaten, but we not ask yourself now waiting them because the strike.
But Victor, you see, this is what I find troubling, to be honest, Mr. Spain. I really find this troubling. An academic, you know, and a patriot will come out, you know, on national media and articulate the case for students, you know, that are protesting students, to have violence directed at them. I don't want to go back, you know, here to some of these, but I will just cite the Ahmadiyya case, in which whether they were offenders, but you run away from the police, and then the police pursue you, broke down gates.
It was wrong. It was wrong. That was wrong. That action was wrong, sir. That action was wrong. You're right. It was wrong.
Yeah, there has been constant, you know, things of this nature in which there has been twists and turns, propaganda from either side, and people like me and you get confused in the middle because it depends on which side you read from and where you are, and it's hard to just find the truth. That's why we have to be careful when we come, you know, on platforms, you know, to make the case. But I sure, Mr. Victor, that was your fourth point. Is it correct, sir?
Yes, sir. Fourth point. Let me just conclude, and then I'll leave the platform. So for
I've got a few questions for you before you leave, but just conclude.
Okay. Mr.
No,
Ben
go on. Wait, after your conclusion.
Yeah, Mr. Ben Kaifala make an error of judgment. But knowing the standard of our educational system at this very moment, Sierra Leoneans should take courage. We should be able to excuse this man's error. Also because he's done so much well within a short space of time on the role as a commissioner of anti-corruption. Based on those two factors, I believe say Sierra Leoneans and for able for forgive this guy and move on for the mistake we make. And we for no say we educational system need urgent reform, be it in terms of pay and in terms of how we students and they approach exams. Because students in our country seem for believe say spying during exam should be a norm and it should be allowed. And so far, what we don't see, the educational system as alone, it don't rot into a core.
So what solution are you preferring? Are you agreeing with the actions, or at least, you know, what Francis Ben Kaifala is doing in terms of the education? Some of these actions, not exactly like it played out recently, but he should undertake other actions strong enough, you know, different from what happened, you know, a few days ago, to help with the education process. Is that correct, sir?
Yeah, I think if we give a chance, it should continue with the hard work practice in terms of then get extra people learn for invigilate and sure say exams are conducted in an atmosphere that is meant for an examination. I think if
all right, Mr. Spain, just because for time reasons, because I need to bring one or two more guests before we round up this program. A question to you is this, yeah? The president has apologized, and this is untypical and you know this because the president hardly speaks. But in this case, he's spoken. As a trusted analyst, a man who can look at the left, right, and center, what's your take on this? Considering the situation against, his ACC boss. What's your take on all of this? Why would the president come out and apologize?
Earlier on, I had speakers like Kasada Kitchen making frivolous allegations. Yeah, earlier on, I had speakers making allegations that this is a sabotage. I really don't think so. I think the president, in his wisdom, thought it fit. Because it's difficult for a man to realize his mistakes. Like Kaifala may have recognized he's made an error of judgment, but was unable to publicly say, I'm sorry, to apologize. So what did the president do? I think that the right thing he do. He come out and apologize on behalf of the commissioner. I think we Sierra Leone and them for understand, accept the apologies, and move on, and wait for see maybe Mr. Ben go think say, okay, the president don't apologize. Let me do the same thing, which I believe he will do.
And I also believe that as well. And Mr. Spain, finally, I'm sure you will have listened to the interview between Francis Ben Kaifala and Umaru Fofana. Have you, sir?
Yeah. No, sir.
I will advise that you do. I will advise that you do because, and there are contradictions though. That's why I said in part of this program that Francis Ben Kaifala, by what I've seen, within this episode regarding the teachers, is now a conflicted man. How does he build up, from what has happened, to become that credible person that you've spoken about? It's going to be difficult, but yes, he will. And I'm sure, a lot of people are willing to give him the chance. But with 98.1 interview, he sort of, posed the position of a strong man, making his arguments. Yes, and showing arrogance and the rest of it. But when you listen to the interview with Umaru, he sort of humbled himself and accepted that he should have sent these people to court, that he made a strategic blunder, and it was only because he was trying to test the tolerance level and the acceptability of the public. I'm now quoting him, the acceptability of the public in terms of the strategy. Unfortunately, like most strategies, not only him alone, it backfired. One last word from you.
Yeah, so based on what we've said tonight, I just want to say to the general public, to the people listening to this noble forum, we also will exercise patience. Ben Kaifala is doing a wonderful work for our country. Regardless of where we are in terms of politics, he is human. He has made an error. The president has apologized, and I believe we should accept those apologies and move on.
All right. Pasheki, you want to come in? I know you've sent a couple of invitations. I will take one or two more guests after Mr. Spade. So one or two more guests, Pasheki, you really want to speak. So please send me an invitation and I will bring you on, my brother. Send me an invitation. I really wanted to hear from Mr. Kaibanja. Unfortunately, his line is no good. Yeah, man. And we know his controversial position on issues like this. But yeah, and this is what bothers me about it. There are many things, that made me to say Mr. Ben Kaifala is a conflicted person. And I've named them and I'm just going over them again. He said that he's trying to institute creative and innovative strategies. I mean, this is creative and innovative, but for goodness sake, this was an
it didn't work. It goes against it goes against the human right of these individuals. They may be guilty because I don't know this
absolutely. These individuals are called human rights, and Mr. Spain, shouldn't be abused. It's abused. Basically,
they shouldn't be abused. The rights, the human rights, shouldn't be abused. Even though
it shouldn't be abused. It shouldn't be. And this is the thing, Mr. Spain. While I wait for my next guest, the issue here is because social media is awash with rumors, they say, and position, and the rest of it. But let's separate things in the first place. Let's assume or accept that Mr. Kaifala, just like what he said, he actually said that he was trying to be creative and innovative. and he's got an endorsement and sanctioned by the international community. He went on to cite places like Kenya and South Africa, how they've adopted innovative measures in trying to tackle corruption. But every country has got a different, sort of approach, a case approach. The Saudis, for example, have got a different approach to issues of corruption. Are you going to be innovative in
They will chop your, they will chop your arms, of course. Yeah, we can do that. His arms, we can do that.
No. And what I found, really troubling as well, Mr. Spain, Mr. Kaifala said that he held town hall meetings. This is, to temper or, feel the pulse of the nation. Like when you want to innovate something, you want to, like policy-wise, you want to implement it and drag it out. So he held town hall meetings and other meetings, with groups, focus group meetings. You have to ask yourself, in the face of this entire thing backfiring on him, with whom did he hold these town hall meetings? Was it just supporters that told him, yes, go ahead with this? But lesson learned, Mr. Spain.
I think people here meeting with were people who cannot rationally analyze issues, because you would not advise anyone to take such a measure. It goes against every fabric of our nation. It goes against the democracy that Mr. Ben Kaifala represents.
Exactly.
The man is a lawyer.
Yeah.
So what I can say, he made an error of judgment. And the president recognized that. Mr. Kaifala himself recognizes that. The only thing he finds difficult to do may be to come out openly and apologize.
We'll end the show in about 10 minutes. Mr. Jabi Jamil S., I believe you're a first timer watching from Sierra Leone. Welcome to the program, my brother. Thanks for tuning in, and please share with the wider community in Sierra Leone. We really appreciate that. Welcome to the Den and Now. Mr. Spain, again, I'm happy to keep you company while hopefully, because I will end the program in 10 minutes anyway, hopefully Pasheki, I'll send you an invite, Pasheki. Accept the invite, and then I'll bring you on so you can have a word, because you really wanted to participate. It's with regret that we could not get Brother Kaibanja. Mr. Kroma, we've sent multiple requests. Mr. Pasheki, send one more now. Stop the moaning. Send one more, and I'll bring you on, please. Yeah? Yes, Brother Watson. Thank you very much, my brother. God bless you too. What I was going to say, Mr. Spain, is with what is happening now, where, like the Americans will say, people are doubling down. People are not even aware that in context, Francis Ben Kaifala has expressed remorse and regret at the strategy. He's accepted I backfired without saying exactly this.
Say sorry. Without saying sorry.
Without saying sorry. But the idea is, that's why I guess some people are waiting for the exact words, because you got people doubling down and saying that he was right, even though the man who initiated it is saying, you know what, the strategy was wrong.
It was wrong. He was wrong.
So, for the benefit of the public, again, Mr. Spain, can we separate the law from emotions? Because me and you, and the great number of Sierra Leoneans, and I said it at the beginning of the program, that we are all upset with issues of corruption, which you have outlined and laid bare on this program a few minutes ago. But there is definitely a line on how to pursue corruption. And we've said it. I remember on one of the programs going months ago, I think you had a Nigerian friend, I will never forget about that example, who told you on how to fight corruption. Even myself, I've got a tape on YouTube outlining on ways to fight corruption, which somebody else, I think is Brother Johnson, outlined as well. Okay? But Sheki, I cannot see your invite, my brother. What's going on? Yeah. Pasheki, send it again, please. One more time.
It just needs to refresh, because I've done that. He refresh, go off Facebook and come back again. You can see.
I will extend the time on the program just because of you, because you've made so many attempts. Okay, refresh your gadget and send me an invite again. That's what you need to do, because the invites are coming, but it's not giving me the option to accept. So maybe you need to refresh. Okay. No, so, Pasheki, I've sent you an invite as well, and the reason why you have not received it is probably because you need to refresh your gadget. So come off and come on again, and then send me, or I will send you, okay? Pasheki, I hope you got that. Sorry, it's not enough. He violated the law. Okay, Mr. Lawrence Fox. Sorry, it's not enough. He violated the law and must face the music pauper.
Yes,
Mr. Fox has always got this extreme views on how to address the issues. Igor, I got sent invite on how to address these issues. And that's kind of interesting. Yes, when you violate the law, you have to face the music. I wonder what the music is. Are you calling that he should be fired? Sometimes the answer is no. You know, it depends on the magnitude. And this is serious. This is serious. The government is there, and the officials are there, and they will say exactly what sort of punishment, if there are any, that will be meted out to the ACC boss. But this is a heavy fallout by my taking. The fact of the matter that the president spoke before consulting the ACC boss and apologized, and this was something that he had to do. I know a brother who came on earlier, unfortunately, we could not hear the rest of his story. He agreed with the ACC boss. He said that the president is no business of the president to interfere because the ACC is an independent body. I do agree. The ACC is an independent body. Francis Ben Kaifala is not a government official. He's an independent entity. But there are rules, there are laws that govern the ACC. And even Mr. Kaifala has accepted that he went too far in the interest of the country. Let's see whether we are able to get past Sheki. See whether we are able to get this brother and see what he wants to say. So this is where I find Mr. Kaifala. Pasheki, the audio is bad. It's bad. Try to use your earpiece. Try to use your earpiece. If you're TV or anything, you've got your TV or anything program, please turn the volume down to zero as well.
So you say my audio bad?
Now your audio bad when you talk. I can hear you clearly. I don't know what you are. I'm talking from your side. I'm talking to others and I never had it.
Okay, let's move. Maybe tell me anything better.
You are okay. It's from my side where there is a delay in the loop.
Okay.
So if you get earpiece,
okay, no problem.
apply your earpiece. Let me see. Maybe that will be better.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so while we're waiting for Sheki to make a contribution on this program, we are. It sounds better now, Sheki. Are you?
Sound better?
Yes, you hear me? Now we need your face. We need your face now. We want to let the people and see the motor they talk.
Okay, no problem.
So anyway, Sheki, I suppose this is your first time on the Den now, and we are happy to have you on. As usual, the ritual now is, will you please introduce yourself for the benefit of the listening public and where you are calling from, please, sir?
So, I am Prophet Pasheki of the International House of Prayer Ministries in Silver Spring, Maryland.
Okay.
Where Dr. Raymond K. Mani is pastor.
Right.
And where the Honorable Francis Joseph Mattia is assistant pastor.
Okay.
I'm also an aspiring flag bearer for the APC party. And I believe I will be the next president of Sierra Leone.
Wow, okay. Straight away, we go into that. You know, yeah, I'm very pleased, ladies and gentlemen, to have a prophet on the show. And this is his first time, obviously, calling from Maryland, Silver Springs, I believe. I've been there a couple of times.
Yes.
Yeah. I thought, before we go into the subject matter, Pasheki, I thought we are supposed to separate, religion from politics.
Well, Mr. Kroma, I thank you very much for inviting me on your platform today.
Thank you.
You're a very respectable platform. I've been following you for a while.
Thank you very much, sir.
But as you said, I'm the first time on the platform.
Thank you.
Thank you for your contribution at Perseverance Tenacity.
Thank you.
The question you asked about religion and governance, I always say, if religion not for day side politics or governance, then why are the people of God involved in it? I ask you the question back, I return the question to you, and to always hold that sentiment today. Because anything with God no deeper, me and you know deeper now. If God no deeper homosexuality, me and you know for deeper now. If God no deeper lie, we know for deeper now. You see, so I return the question to you and all mercy, if the God way they serve, okay, you know, mix pan politics, pan governance, pan presidency, or any kind of office in politics, why you mix pan?
Okay. This is
Thank you very much.
Yeah, this is quite interesting. So this is not an entire topic for a different day. But the reason why we asked the question,
Exactly.
I ask them as such, now just from an historical perspective, in which once upon a time the state be involved with religion, and there were so many problems that at some points they agree for separate the state from religion. But like I say, we will talk about this, you know, yeah, and your aspirational thing in the near future, very soon. But
yeah, but we see the consequences when that happened. The dire consequences.
Okay, thank you.
For instance, in America, when they pull church, when they pull God in school, the guns and drugs went in. Now they get police station at school then.
Again.
Okay, but let me go to the subject matter at hand.
Again, I find it very, very interesting. So this will make a very. I'm bringing you on soon, Pasheki. This is kind of interesting for me. But anyway, let's go down straight to the point, sir. You've been watching the program for a while. I mean, tonight's program. You know the subject matter. There have been many speakers before you, and I'm sure you got an opinion on the issue, sir. So before I ask any other question, I'll just give you the floor straight away to let us know and viewers know what's your opinion on this particular issue, sir.
As you see, the Honorable Sir, I am very passionate about this particular topic. Now I make I send you several requests there for come on. Waiting Ben do not to say na a mistake. In your eyes, make it be a mistake. In the eyes, in your eyes, na corruption, na injustice. Because why I say so, Sierra Leone is not ruled by any man, woman, or child. Sierra Leone is ruled by laws. Sierra Leone is governed by laws. With constitution, and I read law. Section 5, I believe, in Article 3 or so, it make it clear, say, you cannot punish any individual outside of due process of law. We want law and order in our country. There has to be due process. So tomorrow, Kaifala will take what a posse come, put that cotton tree, they shoot him.
Yeah. Stop.
The exploration we think. We have laws. So as independent as the ACC can be, ACC is not independent from the laws of Sierra Leone. You cannot punish anybody without due process of law. That is the law. You see, that is justice. And we motto now unity, freedom, and justice, sir. The other side I want to tackle is this. One thing we want to move away from as alone. Did they get me?
Loud and clear, sir.
One thing we want to get away from Salone is this. This compartmentalization of we citizendom. This class and caste system like they get in India. Where some man better pass the other. Some man privilege pass the other. We can never go nowhere. Okay? Salone, minister go chief $1 million. He go buy build mansion inside 2 months. Prior to your office, he tap that pan body. He goes scot-free. What's happening there? They're not as well. Them. They parade. You small people. Like I mean, so Academy.
Seem like I've lost.
I go Jury Border.
Okay.
I go PO, go collegiate. Teachers made me. You see, we want a Sierra Leone that moves away from the class system. First class and second class. So Ben Kaifala is not an incompetent person in an important position. Because before anybody take any action, you must think it through and through.
Yep.
If I think I'm to the very end of it, so he say go get town hall meeting, as you self mentioned earlier.
Yep.
You may not let people that town hall meeting will tell them for say if you do this enough fear, it might elicit so and so and so and so. A day against the law. Did he even consult with the judicial system about this? Kaifala gets posted in office when from the law courts where they check everything they do. So now an aberration of justice. And a country where money is small right at the ground dry, we will lose more money because really inside the law. In America now also, whenever a official or government take advantage per citizen, there's a law in America we call Section 42, 1983, where the injured individual can bring a lawsuit against the government official in an official capacity and in personal capacity and seek redress for damages. So that's same law that's alone today. So the teachers now, they can sue Ben Kaifala and that office day. We don't get money. They can sue to the tune of $10 million if they want, individually. Did Kaifala think of this? You see, so pretty much, I know I hold it longer. I know say if you say 10 minutes, I want to stop right there for saying I'm very, very pissed off. I'm very chagrined. We are looking for a Sierra Leone. We'll go past this. We'll go take one man as in a big man, this is a small man. We will stop that. We are all equally important in the eyes of God and in the eyes of man. If we be that with this, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Pasheki, before you go, thank you so much for the contribution. I can feel the heat and the steam, here. And I know before you even say you're so upset about this, I can already feel it.
Advantage.
Yeah.
Advantage.
As a man of law and a man of God, which you have already outlined, Francis Ben Kaifala say, it not been the act within the remit of the ACC. Because if you can recall, sir, a couple of weeks ago, I believe, the vice president of the country, Dr. Julde, introduced the anti-corruption strategy. So it is say under section 7.1, that's what gave him the authority to act as such. Not exactly for paradise people inhumanely, but for take action. In other words, instead of taking them to court, which should have been the procedure, although you don't admit now that is what he should have done. He was saying to 98.1 that this was under the banner in which he acted.
Okay. So if you acted under legal banners, there's no cause for apology.
Absolutely. There's no man is a conflicted man.
No, we are using these civilized terms for mass dead people here, so they're foolishness. We use the really nice terms there for mass them nonsense. These are the highest form of advantage. When you go take people of the lower status as they claim and parade them and use them as specimens like how science and take monkey and cockroach them and rats in test labs. Then they carry them go put them in the labs for go test various megas in them or various disease them. Then they shoot Ebola at them for see the outcome. No Saloma no doing a cockroach or a rata. Even though you get one na power na rata, but no Sierra Leonean should not be used as a test case. And if you use anyone as a test case, use the big one then. We don't take and because of them make the country the idea today.
Yeah, okay.
An advantage.
Pasheki, the fact of the matter again, make me say Mr. Kaifala is a conflicted man. I keep the repeat this because still some people not seem to get this as yet. That even though Mr. Kaifala himself, although he stopped short of using the word "I apologize," but if you listen to the conversation between he and Umaru Fofana, in many respects, he has admitted that the strategy backfired and he was wrong. He even said that he should have taken these people to court. But the fact of the matter that prior to the strategy backfiring, he said that he was trying to introduce a strategy of shock and awe. In other words, to shock the conscience of his own citizens into not indulging into acts of corruption. What would you say to that, sir?
Well, you know, as for me, I'm not shocked because since time memorial, Sierra Leone government and the people of Sierra Leone have been using small people per se, you know, as scapegoats. Not so anything shocking to we. Man, they can be small, we grow up now, Brookfields, we begin mango chicken boku. Then po one and they can't claim mango chick na nets for can't thief mango for go sell me the eats. You want grain will eat all that mango for that fanatic them day. But when they catch them, they go beat them, like for say, then kill person. But again, these members of government, they parade before we every day. You know, in pomp and style. And we have nothing to say. Whenever they protest, you know, actively against this injustice, yeah, so. You see, so well, Kaifala not shock me at all. If you want to shock me, like take leaders of government, heads of states them, like take the executive them, like parade them, and that will shock me.
Yeah. So
well, the president, they say 1 minute, sir.
Yeah, go on, please.
They say that Kaifala had passion for education, so because the teachers and they do it and they feel very bad about. No. How can we convince our youth, our students that knowledge is the key to success? When you have your president is a criminal and he poorly educated. When you have ministers who are poorly educated, can barely speak proper English, can barely write a proper sentence, but they are rich in no time. We just had a member of SLPP. We're going to Nigeria. She went to the Synagogue Church of All Nations by Prophet I don't forget his name. You know, TB Joshua. She went there and was flaunting her quickly acquired wealth. Then he put the name of God Panam.
But the president was to take action, Mr. Pasheki.
And which action was it?
She was fired.
And what? And what else?
Well, that's up to the criminal courts or Francis Ben Kaifala to take action. But the idea is the president got rid of her.
Well, we're gonna be glad. We're gonna be very happy when you take action, proper action, appropriate action to that as well. Because if I am watching at me, you don't build, you don't get the mansion done, you don't get the money done, you get what you want, you know. So, you know, they go do this there so na Nigeria. You know, and the whole thing mix up, man. The whole thing, it just no, we don't need that kind of people there, so we just don't need them.
All right,
how can you convince our students? Now they say, how the student will take education serious? When the government, where they influence them, then the show will say, you book no mean nothing. Minister no get education, but he gentry. So why not for spy? They are looking also for an easy way, the fastest way. Why never spy?
So you're not sanctioning spying. And remember that you are soon to be an aspirant or something of that nature.
Yes.
And you're not sanctioning spying at any cost.
In no way.
All right.
At any cost. I'm not at any cost. At any cost. But I heard Victor Spain say formally before I come on.
Pasheki, let me move on quickly. Let me move on quickly because of time constraints, sir. I promise you, I'm going to bring you on this program again for just a complete show between you and myself, because you seem to be a huge stakeholder, a prophet, and an aspiring presidential flag bearer, wherever it's called. We'll talk about this. But do you feel any sympathy for Mr. Ben Kaifala? And just before you answer the question, he made a calculation. I'm coming quickly. Let me just develop, something before you land with the answer. Ask the question first instead of last for a particular reason. So he made a calculation like most people will do. I know at some point you said it was deliberate. But he said that he was testing the margin of acceptability. And I'm paraphrasing the ACC boss. A margin of acceptability by the public, the tolerance level, and was trying to introduce a creative, innovative strategy to capture the minds of the population. In other words, to deter them from doing acts of corruption. Now that he's got it wrong by all means and is accepted tacitly today, sir, do you feel any sense of sympathy? Do you have any advice?
So creative and innovative, void of the laws of Sierra Leone, you know, void of the people, their rights, their civil liberties and human liberties, their inalienable rights as well. President Bio also tendered an apology. We are not even paying attention to. Now look at Francis, yeah. As somebody who I'll be very proud of. I hold him of high esteem. Okay? This so far, not the first mistake what I see we don't make. If truly it comes for anti-corruption, there are many people where thief from Salon people them were responsible for the suffering of many of our people today, where you not call them yet to book, and an officer will ever call them. Okay, so that's what now man parts down. Then this cow go. For many, then go say the first thing this. Where you are for punish person or you are for judge them by track record. You know. To me, not the first thing is we can follow and do. Not the first one. If it be the first mistake, you go say, well, I'll look at the track record. They don't try so far.
Yeah.
They make one bad call, a very bad call.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me reprimand them, verbal reprimand, and make you know happen again. But as far as me concerned, I've seen many aberrations of justice with the people of Sierra Leone by Kaifala. So forgiveness is a must. In some cases, you will forgive, but you pay you dues them. But however, me not feel to see incompetent enough for the office day now. I've arrived now. This is the final conclusion now for see he should not be in that office at all.
Okay.
At all.
There was a purpose behind the question, you know, yeah, which came from a religious perspective, and I believe that you've brilliantly addressed it. And this is my final question to you, Pasheki, Prophet Pasheki. The ACC boss, once again, has admitted publicly that indeed he should have taken this case to court. Okay? The Human Rights Commission of Sierra Leone, which barely speaks, have spoken, and they are saying, or they've said, that this case is barbaric in nature, inhuman. Okay? Francis Ben Kaifala said he was trying out a strategy, but strategy are not laws. Okay? The teachers' union have threatened court action because this again was a fundamental mistake. It wasn't about individuals, it's a union. Okay? In your capacity as a Sierra Leonean and a stakeholder in the society, will you be advising, or would you advise the teachers' union to pursue? Because you did mention that earlier, that if they want, they can. Would you be advising, if you were asked, for them to go ahead with court action?
By all means, because these people were stripped of their human dignity. In light of the ones who are parading, who are gallivanting the world in private jets, in Rolls Royces, have mansions down the street from my house. In light of all that, these people, you know, were disgraced publicly, the entire globe. And then again, they don't get money. So this gonna be a way for me to get money as well. Yes. So by all means, then for take the government Kaifala to book, make them seek redress, punitive damages as well. So they tune each teacher for sue for $1 million because they global disgrace this to them. Yes, by all means.
Are you a member of the Bar Association of Sierra Leone, sir?
No, I'm not.
And you do have...
No, I'm not, unfortunately. I'm sorry, I lost you there.
No, I'm asking whether you do have friends.
I lost you there, sir.
Can you hear me now, sir?
Yes.
No, I'm asking, do you have friends who are members of the Bar Association of Sierra Leone?
Friends and relatives.
So you will be asking them to aid these teachers if they should come to them, asking for help to pursue this matter.
It has already been done, sir. It has already been done.
Well, Pasheki, thank you very much for coming on the Den and Now, sir. And please share this program to the wider Maryland community and the wider North America community. We really appreciate it. Like I said, sir, I will be bringing you again, but this one is going to be specifically on issues relating to politics, religion, and your aspirations, sir.
Thank you very much, sir, for hosting me.
Thank you very much for coming. God bless you too, sir. Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're coming towards the end of the program, and our last guest is already articulated the issue at hand, and that was Prophet Pasheki. Very interesting, and I promise that I'll be bringing him back. But just before we close the program, there are one or two things I want to say, but this is just one of them. I mean, Den and Now has got merchandise, and they are going like hot cake. I can promise you this. And we're asking you to help patronize the merchandise. By so doing, we're able to fund the program, pay for services, internet, electricity, and time spent. This is the Den and Now brand, which is famous now worldwide, and we're still developing. And this is for party members of the All People's Congress. So you've got your All People's Congress, which says OY or SI APC with the Den and Now logo. And 2 of these is £15. I haven't done the conversion in dollars yet. I'll tell you because I speak. And yeah, this is the APC one. And we don't only stop there. And this is the Den and Now brand as well. And you've got it with the Liberian flag. That's the Lone Star of Liberia, along with the Den and Now logo. So my Liberian family, here we are. Patronize us. You've got your flag on this, the Lone Star and the logo. And we also got the NGC. That's the NGC, along with the Den and Now logo. We've also got the SLPP. I will have to show this before I close the program. Other than that, it will look terrible on my part. Just a minute, please. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so that's the Den and Now. And for those of those members of the Sierra Leone People's Party currently ruling the country, this is also a mug. Remember, this is merchandise, and this is purely economics, is business. This has nothing to do with politics. Let's put the politics aside and try to patronize a brother and a unit that is trying to develop. So that's the SLPP one with the, the magic words. Yeah, that's the logo, the palm tree. 1 country, 1 people. 2 for 15, 1 for £8. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's round up this program. I think we are approaching the 2.5 hour mark. Okay, and we're just summarizing. The action taken by Mr. Francis Ben Kaifala has divided the nation once more. But notwithstanding, we can say for sure that the vast majority of the people are on the side of justice. The side of justice in this case is that the action taken by the ACC boss was wrong. You have people who have doubled down But what we need to do is to separate the law from moral values, okay? The law from moral values. You can equate the two, but there are times when you draw a line between. In this case, this is what it is. You've got people who are totally conflicted, totally lost. But you cannot, blame them except they are on the extreme. And the reason why I say this is simple. Every one of us, I said this from the beginning of the program, with the exception of those who are benefiting, benefactors, directly, indirectly, from corrupt practices. Other than that, every one of us who are not wants a corrupt-free society. And above all, the future of the country lies in the hands of these students. So these students will have to be thoroughly prepared, well polished. So we speak strongly, and I repeat, we speak strongly, and I personally disavow myself with all those teachers who are involved in corrupt practices. This is a noble profession. All of the speakers that have spoken here tonight, they pay tribute to these teachers. Without them, we could not have been what we are today. Let's make it clear, because when everyone, here was born or came to Mother Earth, they were sent to school. And there's a purpose behind it, because you cannot do without. Even when you went on to school, you didn't complete your studies. But remember, there was a beginning, and there were people that polished you. And it doesn't only stop that, because we're looking at this thing as minute. It's not minute, it's huge, it's heavy. Because even when you are in kindergarten, it's teachers, nursery nurses who takes care of you. That's the beginning of the nurturing stage, preparing you for the future. Kindergarten, primary, secondary, college, university, vocational, and the rest of it is a process. And all throughout, you have this dedicated men and women of this profession. I speak passionately about this because that is my lineage. This is where I come from. Granddad was a teacher, headmaster. Dad was a teacher, headmaster, taught at police school, became a professor, taught political science for many, many years. Mom was a teacher before she moved on to a different profession. Brothers, sisters, teachers, some of them are still teaching up to this day. So this is the lineage that I come from, so it's close to my heart. And these were humble people. To this day, I've got people that I respect deeply who helped to nurture me, both in kindergarten, specifically in primary school. I still remember them greatly, and I've got great respect for them. But of course, I went to school at a time when education was of high standard, very high standard, not what we've got today. But having said this, we now boil down to the matter that we frown against corruption. Teachers involved in corrupt practices should be brought to book, but there is a process. But in this case, the ACC boss failed the nation. He failed the president, hence why the president appealed on behalf of the ACC. Even before speaking to them, he made it clear that he's apologizing. Yes, the ACC boss will be independent, could be independent, and I suppose he is. But he's not just by himself. There are laws that govern the nation. But the fact of the matter, we will put it to rest. What I wanted to make sure that the rest of us get, because this goes to the heart of the matter, that some people are doubling down, tripling down on the action taken by the ACC boss. Well, if the ACC boss himself admitted that the action was wrong, that he should have done it otherwise, that the reason why I did this is, these were my expectations. It was a strategy, but strategy is not a law. And that he should have taken the people to court. If you haven't listened to the interview, go and listen to the man himself. Okay? So where are you with this? That he was right. The man who did it said, no, I was wrong. It was a strategy I was trying. You need to let common sense reign. Other than that, you will be left in the doldrums of stupidity and idiocy. You'll be known nothing but as a numbskull and a pinhole. The man who did it said, I'm wrong. I was wrong. And the strategy is clear. That I can no longer, go along with this. I was just trying it to shock the conscience of a nation that had town hall meetings. How many people can fit into a town hall? And probably those that went in there that were saying, crucify them, are the same people now shouting and saying, no, you got it wrong. Or they were just supporters. But this involves a nation, 7.5 million, and this involves a teachers' union. It's a union. It's not individuals, it's a union. nationwide. And this union is also connected with other international unions. The Guinean Union, the WAEC Union, the Liberian Union, West Africa Examinations, and there are other franchises as well. So it's not ordinary, it's massive, it's huge. Do you understand? If you don't, just take what the president has said, take it to the bank. He's apologized, period. Good night for now. Thank you very much for listening. Good night. Good night all. Please share this video and leave your comments. Thank you very much and God bless you all.